Okay. The trickle is starting to slow down. Hello, Chris. Hello, Alex. Hello, Blair. Hello, Adam and Adam Zell, Adam Zatorsky, Brandon, Brian, Chad, Chris, Easter, Mr. Suhu in the house. A lot of other familiar names. Stating the people I didn't see last week. Really appreciate you guys making it here today. What's up, Jonathan? Okay. No, we've probably got other things to be attacking today as well, as much as you guys. Hey, what's up, PC? Patrick Coleman in the house. So we've got a lot of things going on here. Today marks 3 weeks of me, my lady, my dog, and a 9-month-old being sequestered. So that's been kind of an interesting deal. Let's see. There you go. There I am, everybody. Let's get that dialed in here. So it's been kind of, things are getting weird up here in the mountains. That's what I'll say. I'm going to turn off some of these chat windows. I will jump back into them. The Q&A is on. That's where I want to make sure that you get your questions. I would like to make this one, if you've been here the last 3 weeks, I'd like to make this one a little bit more interactive in terms of as we progress. I feel like I've been kind of flying through some of this content, and I'd really like to slow it down and make sure that we really kind of go through this effectively. Some other things, fun stuff going on with us. So we hired Felicia Diascanio from Coastal Source to complete and round out our Eastern team. So her and Matt Miller will be rounding out the East Coast, and we're going to shift that a little bit further into the Central Territory until we make some other moves. But for all the East Coast people, they are your go-to to help drive these initiatives that we've been talking about and covering. This is week 3. If you've been following all of them, if you haven't seen the other ones, please go back and let's go into those other webinars. If you need the links, if you need any other content that you weren't able to make, let me know. I will get that to you. There's a common theme with all of these, really focused around the Josh experience and getting focused around our sales narrative. The territory sales managers are there to help you with any of your sales needs. And then, of course, the technical sales engineers are going to be there to help interact with your technical team and anyone else that needs some technical proficiencies. But they are a team to help collaborate and help you get everything you need in your respective territories. We've also still got me and Bridget for the West Coast. We do have some other things going on over there that we'll be holding out on here for a little bit, but not in progression, but on the announcements and stuff. So still some exciting things going out there. There's hopefully some light at the end of this tunnel here. Let us know how we can help you guys learn throughout this whole process. We hope you're taking the proper precautions to help be ready when all this stuff kind of gets out of our way. Make sure if you need any other additional information about government assistance, any of that stuff, please let us know. We can help you navigate some of that. I'm happy to share the information I have, as I'm sure Alex is as well. So let us know how we can assist you and be a good partner. As always, remember to mute your micros because, okay, Josh, start Joe Exotic mode. This is usually when a bunch of people start texting me and inboxing me for executing something on their systems because they haven't muted yet. We have a tendency to say, okay, Josh, an awful lot the entire time throughout this. So please mute your micros. The Joe Exotic mode is a little bit of a mode and that we've been working on here. We've got a little pet tiger here too. This is my best Joe Exotic mode impression. So please mute your micros or else I'll have to rickroll you. Uh-oh, we're lighting up the switchboards here. Let's see. Nice tiger. Yeah, thank you. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I told you, things are getting weird. Oh, Patrick Coleman said, yeah, just use headphones. Patrick's usually ahead of the curve on that, so he's not getting caught. So hope everybody muted your micros there, gave you some time to do that. As we move through here. Okay, so what we want to do and what we've kind of focused on with this, our agenda, and if you probably saw the email this week from Bridget on the reason, the overall content of what we're after. What we're after is really to try to make sure that you have in your arsenal the proper needs and the scripting you need to do the best demo to show what Josh can really do. So we'll cover today is the reasons for that, the requirements of that, the list that Bridget had sent out, the Josh experience, which is a common narrative that we go over all the time in these last 3 weeks, examples for doing that through voice and examples for doing that through the graphical user interface. And then we'll be taking Q&A just kind of as we go through here. Hello, Eugene. Thanks for making it. Now, let's go through what is the certified Josh demo experience. What we're after is we want you to hit all these key points that show not only how to flow within the environment and throughout the ecosystem of the technology solutions that you're providing, but we want to make sure that you're also managing expectations. One of the things that for some of the old schoolers out there, similar to me, I don't know how that happened, but I can't really stop this aging process. Back in the mid 90s, wow, some of you are probably like, what? Mid 90s. So Bose had a really cool demo experience that in their larger scale showrooms in big places, like probably like Tweeters, Sound Advice, Incredible Universe, one of the places where I came from, Circuit City, Ultimate Electronics, they had these rooms that was the Bose experience or the Bose demo. And throughout that process, there were some large speakers up on the walls in the corner, and they went through a whole thing with a bunch of different music. And at the end of it, what they did is they opened up the speakers to unveil the Acoustimass system. Now, I know Bose is kind of a dirty word, the jokes of no highs, no lows, it must be Bose, these types of things like that. But that demo resonated with people. That demo got people to come in and ask about a product, and they got them to share that experience with their friends and talk about that with their friends. The reason, and it gets back to my webinar 2 weeks ago, which was really focused around trying to make that connection with your customer and the story behind a product. So we really want to focus on those things and really try to get John better off with something else. But let's not focus on the product right now. Let's focus on the message, which is let's make sure we're focusing on how good of a marketing company that they were. And really what they were doing is, it was a good experience. Yes, it's not as good as what we have today and the big systems that we would sell. I was a guy on the sales floor that I would fight that whole situation when a customer would come in and ask for that system. I would fight it because you didn't have enough inputs. It couldn't do this. It couldn't do that. It couldn't work well. You had to have multiple remotes, and there are a million reasons. But remember, the expectation was just different. And people had a really good experience, and they wanted to replicate that in their homes. And that's what we're trying to focus on here, is that experience. So remember that part, and it was a really good message. And that's what we're trying to do, is I want to give you the tools to, not necessarily for us to be a Bose, but for us to give you that type of experience, your customers that type of experience, so they can walk away to talk with their friends about it and make sure that that messaging to help you become more and more effective as a dealer in your area with outreach through word of mouth. Now, why should you get Josh Experience certified? What we're asking you to do here, also pursuant to Bridget's email, if you didn't get that, let me know. We'll send it back out to you. Um, it's just a short video that we want. And again, we're trying to get you focused on use case and predictable outcomes. We need to know that A, you know how to use the system, and that showing us that does force you to practice it and make you better at your presentation. I hate dry runs. Oh, I hate them. I do not like doing them. I'd rather just go and do it. But every time I do a dry run, it makes me better. It makes me better. So what we're trying to do is, because also then if it's recorded and you see that, you're like, oh, I can make this, I could have done this better. I could have been more effective on this. You know, it makes you refine your craft. You know, you've committed to the brand, us. You had to, you know, there was a certain level of commitment that you have to do to become a Josh dealer. And we've committed to you by letting you become a dealer. And we've supplied you the technical resources so you can get better at the installation. And we've gone through those. Now the focus is on giving you those magic beans to kind of start making that commitment worth it, not be a struggle for you. And, you know, what's that mean? Well, that's really more about us getting into management of expectations. And as you know, that piece between install with end user and the sales cycle, and that journey for your customer really is what is going to make sure that they're a happy customer at the end. And so that's kind of also falls in with the sandbox piece. You can do other things outside of the sandbox, but as long as you focus your sources and other content that you're trying to get to within voice, and then moving into handheld remotes and graphical user interfaces, and you know how to flow through that, you can set the expectation for your customer to make absolutely certain that they're not asking the system to do things outside of the confines of what our capabilities are. And again, I touch on the yet of what we can do yet, but what we can do today is where we need to stay focused. So we're always growing, we're always getting better. Again, the only living, breathing product in your whole system. So let's focus on the management of expectations and how we can make that part better. Now, what's the carrot? Well, the carrot for this is placement on our dealer locator, which will also give you lead referral for end users. We're in the process of building this out. This is not live yet, which is why we've been really focused on making sure that we get this part done. The reason behind it is we've had some markets where end users have reached out to us, and we honestly didn't have really know what level or where our dealers were in the understanding of that. And that's why we're building out the sales team, while we went through the technical training and got that online, while we're building out all of these resources to make sure that you can deliver what your client really wants and steer that focus into their direction of a good experience. So the carrot for you to do this is to get placement on our dealer locator and get these end user referrals. Now, the requirements for a certified demo experience are here on this list. You know, we want predictable responses from specified commands. That's what we're after. That requires a system design, which is conducive of that, but it's also then in the deliverable, making sure you can show your client how that works and how that's going to operate through voice, and then throughout the other ways that we'll get into here in a little bit as well. So, number one, demonstrate a scene with a custom response. That is something that I think should probably be moved down the list a little bit, but a scene, we do a lot of that stuff on the fly too. So a compound command is basically a scene on the fly. You would build a scene based on things that you do repetitiously. So you're kind of always doing those. A delayed command, something with a timer of some sort. turn the lights off in 15 seconds type situation. Binary toggle functionality, that's my new favorite feature, which kind of makes the NLP backend not have to work as hard, meaning you just walk into the room, say, okay, Josh lights, okay, Josh shades, okay, Josh TV, okay, Josh music, any of those things. And if somebody didn't mute their micros there, a lot of stuff may have happened. But it'll just switch to the opposite state for any of those, which is one of my favorite pieces, one of my favorite new functions that we've come out with. Contextual room awareness, we want to make sure that you understand that. And that also will tie into your understanding of how licensing works as well. Video content, I want to make sure that you guys understand, that we're trying to make sure you get consistent and predictable outcomes. Yes, you can deep dive for content on some services, but we want to make absolutely certain that you're focused more around source selection, channel selection with Comcast or Dish Network. The Comcast thing is supposed to be live soon. Dish Network is live, so watch ESPN, watch those things. Music content, and then open Netflix, open any of the apps open any of the apps within Roku. Music content, pretty simple on that. One of the easiest commands is just to ask Josh to play some music. Anaphora. Anaphora is really referencing something that you've just done. So in a compound command, and we'll touch on that a little bit more. And then audio ducking, which is going to make the volume lower. And then capacitive touch functionality of the micro. Now, requirements on the app side, we want you to be able to navigate the app and understand. For us, our ideal situation is going to be really focused around you starting with voice, then moving to our app or some other handheld device for AV rooms. And so the way that will look is we want you, for your end user, is you want to keep your end user in one app ecosystem. I understand that, I get it. We do aggregate all of those separate apps into one in a really cool way, and our app design is really amazing. People love it, and that's one of the strong points of our product. So we want to make sure that you can go through and show that interface, demonstrate custom dashboards, demonstrate app customization by rearranging tile layout, again, based on scenes or devices commonly used, where you can put those on your own specific dashboard, rooms, floors, and device types, and then show ability to add and edit scenes within the app. Now, some of the stuff with the wow factor, these are the parts that will grab that emotional connection to your client and really steer your demo. So within that, I once made a grown man cry in a speaker demo. It's a true story. It was a really powerful sound demo, and it was really amazing. It almost made me cry when I was in the demo. This is a true story, but I painted the picture. I painted the overall everything. I told them what they were going to hear and what they were going to experience in this room and with these sounds. This is just 2 speakers. And I went through that, and that same demo was one of the best demos that an industry veteran, which really kind of made me feel really good. An industry veteran. I asked John Johanna from Crestron about that story, if you guys know John, about the story that the guy that told him that was the best demo he ever had wasn't the guy that cried. For the record, he'll tell you the story, but there's an art to that demo. There's an art to being able to do that and do that well. I once did that again a little too well with some Steinway Model Ds in Aspen with a man's wife started crying on a demo once there too. And, they ended up buying the speakers, but again, it's the power of that emotional connection and making absolutely certain that you take the time to walk through that stuff. Now, what are those sizzle pieces? The sizzle reel for that within Josh is going to be voice cast, which is a Sonos function for now, which is really, really powerful. Now, so one of the things that you want to focus on the voice cast is making absolutely certain that you have that set up, because that gives you the response of Josh through the speakers when you have Sonos. It's a powerful piece. It makes it seem as if the system or house or home is speaking to you, as opposed to just the Josh Micro. The other power move on wow factor, Ketra. So the Ketra piece on this is going to give you 1,500 different colors, you know, and I'll get into some cool things that we'll be able to do with Ketra here at the end. The Crestron TSR 310 remote, really cool stuff going on with our partnership with Crestron there. We can do some, we even do some Pico micros, some macros with Lutron Picos. There's some things you can do with that. Then creating ad hoc scenes in the app with the phone. I do that at parties all the time. And Alex just said this photo here is courtesy of TYM. Thanks to the guys at TYM. Let me take a second. Chris, he's asking about the touchless control features. Yeah, we can do that. Of course, yeah. Nice and clean, it becomes, oh, okay. Chris, some of those things I want to reference, but I appreciate that input. Thank you. Yeah, that's awesome stuff. Again, what Chris is mentioning is, you know, the touchless control capabilities of Josh and of voice as you look at kind of the state of things today. I'm looking at overall narratives, but yes, I can operate my home. Like I can operate exclusively within a touchless environment in my home. But I know the shortcuts that I want, because I'm what you would call a power user. Yeah, well, on a power user, I'm a power user level that will make sure I focus on that stuff. Let's see, Patrick. An example of an ad hoc scene. Yeah, Patrick, I'm going to touch on that stuff coming up. And that's on the next slide, kind of going through. And then any tips on getting access to the Ketra would be great. Tony, yeah, the Ketra access has been a little bit of a limitation at this point, because Lutron has kind of made that kind of an exclusive thing to get. When I was working at a distributor, I would suggest partnering with someone in order to make sure you get access to that. Mr. Bartlett, good to see you. Yes, I will be able to talk about those ad hoc scenes with the mic in your phone here in a little bit as well. Okay, so for all practical purposes, I'm gonna take a drink. This demo, Google it to reference. We hit every single thing that I'm going to discuss on these next slides within this demo. Whether or not you have all the products, but virtually everything that we're trying to make sure you understand is covered in this 9-minute and 40-second video from CEDIA 2019. Google it, watch it, refine it, take the pieces of it that you like, make it your own, practice it, and again, you know, make sure that you're going to be able to figure out how to make that work within your environment and within the brands that you support in order to get the proper messaging out there within the confines of your systems. Now, so what we want to look at here is there's actually a lot going on with this. So this is a compound command. So turn on the lights and raise the shades. It's a simple compound command, meaning it's only hitting binary pieces. So lights on, off, shades up, down. And we're only hitting those two things. The and will make sure that the micro continues listening, and then you can do that and get both those commands to operate within a single command. Now, you know, this, to be able to demonstrate that list, proper execution on that, you would have VoiceCast set up within Sonos, and you'd be featuring VoiceCast early and prominently within your demonstration to your customer. That's going to make that wow factor. Again, I think it was last week or the week before of me talking about having a custom command, a custom response. I'll touch on custom responses again here as well, but having it say, when you say in something else, that's more of a scene-based piece, but have a custom response set up. But having those things happen gives the system life, helps create that whole experience that they're going to leave and talk about with their friends. And that is what you're always after, is that power of the referral. And sometimes that takes us, this is a good time for us to slow down, evaluate how we've been doing things, and look at how we can take more time with our customers and make sure that we deliver the proper messages to them. Now, the next one, what we'll talk about is we're going to jump into a complex command. Now, what makes it complex? Well, complex command has multiple operations, some binary or percentages, arbitrary numbers. They can be anything. Again, that's one of the powerful things about Josh, is that you can say any setting you want, just about, and we're going to be able to get that. Set the shades, turn the shades, raise the shades, even if they're lowered. You can say if the shades are already at 50% or already down, you can say, set the shades to 50%, lower the shades to 50%. And we'll still operate within that, even if they're down, because we understand that within the NLP. But close the shades halfway, turn on the fireplace, and listen to jazz everywhere. What's happened here is we've set the shades to basically 50%. We've turned on the fireplace through a switch of some sort that either through Crestron, through Control4, or natively with Crestron. With Lutron rather, and then listen to jazz. Now, if you just said listen to jazz, it would there's a micro in that room. It would only affect that room. But the difference here is we've said everywhere. So by saying everywhere, it's impacted the whole entire house as opposed to just the area that we're focused on. So one of the differences between us and the other mass market products out there is you're able to state what you want to be done within the room, and it will only affect that room unless specified otherwise, like with this command. So close the shades halfway, turn on the fireplace, and listen to jazz everywhere. Within that, we've hit a bunch of commands. Now, we could also dive in and get an anaphora command in here, because anaphora works with the last command that you stated. So listen to jazz everywhere. Now you could say, make it louder. So anaphora is referencing to something, knowing that it's music and that we want that to be louder. That's something that with a machine can't necessarily understand. Something us humans we're always interpreting what? Within language, context. So we're always trying to understand that, and that's what we do, and that's what makes us human. Machines can't do that at this point. So it's really most machines. So when you look at what we're doing, we understand that because we're application specific to the home automation world, and we're able to do these things a little bit differently than the other products out there. Now, so as to the point of make it louder, you can also say raise the volume a lot. So the anaphora command that represents that last known command and modifies it by an arbitrary amount. So you can say raise the volume, make it louder, raise it a lot, is going to go up significantly. There's another one I'll touch on later for a wow factor as well. Open the upstairs shades at sunrise. Now that's a cool one. So that's a complex command involving a timer and location awareness. Other things involving timers, one thing I like to do is walk into a room, it's okay, Josh, lights, and turn them off in 30 seconds, walk into the room, grab the thing I need to, now my hands are full, walk out of the room, and then the lights turn off, and that command will be verified, hopefully through voice cast as well, which would be another power move. So again, creating that experience within your demo space and knowing how to do that is what we're after. A power move again on the toggle piece that I had mentioned a little bit earlier. So just one word toggling commands to turn on, off, open, close, start, stop based on their current state. This is my favorite feature. I love going into our conference room in Denver and saying, okay, Josh, lights and music and shades and TV, and then everything just flips its state, and then I'm up and running with an extension on my desktop to the Samsung Frame TV. It's really, really a powerful ability to command a room. Now let's go into this here. Oops. Okay. Gotta slow this down for a sec. How is this? Is this going to work? Let's see. Uh-oh. This embedded video is not. So turn off the music and watch ESPN. See what Chris needs. Will the amount of the volume is turned up always be the same when you say turn up a lot? How is that amount determined? When you say turn it up, I believe it goes up 3 dB. And then if you say a lot, I believe it goes up 10 dB. I'll wait for, let's see if Alex has anything to chime in on that. I think it's 10 if you say a lot. I'll have to confirm that for you, Chris. So let's see, is this wants to open for some reason. It's not, it played when I was doing it the other way. Can you guys, yes or no, can you guys see the YouTube video? You see it, but it's just a black screen, right? Now you should be able to see this. Sorry for the hold up here, guys. Go back to doing the desktop share. Okay. So now you guys can probably see Jason, I'm assuming, correct? Yes. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, cool. Working out the kinks here, so let's play this.
And in an environment like this, it's traditionally been very hard to give accurate voice commands. That's why we have a feature called audio ducking that allows us to actually lower the volume of any audio source of the room that you're in when Josh hears the wake word. Okay, Josh, lower the volume a lot. I've lowered the volume.
Okay, so in that clip, what you saw was he said, okay, Josh. And when he did so, the volume lowered from very loud music that was playing within the room. Then from there, he said, lower the volume a lot. It lowered the volume 10 dB is my understanding. I think I want to confirm that, Chris. I will let you know on that. So let me see if I can get back. Let me close out of this. Okay. Now we're back on track. So, okay, Josh, turn off the music and watch ESPN. Audio ducking lowers the volume, so it's better to hear the user. Now, he also, in a subsequent video, you'll see Jason, what he does is he goes and he uses the micro touch control. Okay, Josh, listen to you too. The touch ring turns purple and adapts to control the music. Okay, Josh, open the blinds. The touch ring will turn blue and adapts to control the shade position. And then, okay, Josh, dim the lights. You can go from there. And if it's yellow, you can adjust the level of it. But if it's a rainbow, it'll adapt to actually being able to do the specific color as well. So that's another cool feature, being able to leverage. And we want you to be able to show us that you can move within that environment. Initialization through voice, then going to a touch device such as that or a handheld remote or your mobile device, and then be able to control and flow within that environment and teach your end users how to do that as well. Now again, room location awareness, giving commands based on the current room the micro is in versus commands affecting other areas of the house. Now, that's one thing that I showed a minute ago about playing jazz everywhere. So within that, we can also do some things where you can lock down the micro. So for guest rooms, you can control it so they won't have access to be able to do that within the other rooms, to hit other rooms of the house. We have that set up, and we had that set up at Tim's house, at the CEDIA party. I also have it set up, I think, at Alex's house. I'll have it set up at my house next week. So that's a cool feature too. Scene creation with the Josh app. This is something that we had a couple questions on. Let me see how this operates.
So traditionally, if you wanted to create a scene, you would have to go through some proprietary software, go through several submenus, click and drag a lot of things, and set device states. What's cool about Josh is that with our NLP engine, we can actually create a scene with plain English just by telling Josh what we want it to do. So let's go ahead and create a scene here. I'm going to call it Good Morning. And then I will simply tell it what I want it to do. Make the lights cool white, set it to 100%, open the shades, and listen to Radiohead and set the volume to 50%. And I will just quickly check for any typos here because I believe that's important. All right, we're good. Now I can also set other nicknames for the scene. It doesn't have to be Good Morning. Josh is also smart enough to know that Good Morning is a very common scene, and it will actually give you a customized response based on that name. Okay, Josh, good morning.
Have a great morning.
All right, and we'll see that the shades start to come up. The lights turn cool white as they begin to brighten, and you will hear the music start to change.
Okay, so let me close this out. Okay. So what Jason showed you there was he created that ad hoc scene. So the question that you had, Jim, on how you could open that, how you could process that, you'd go into the Josh app, go into that, and hit add scene. And then as you kind of go through that, it's showing that you can go, he's showing you that you can go through in a very natural language way, where it would typically take within a control system a lot of steps to create that scene and to make all of those functions happen, because you go into each device, pull in the triggers and make that put all the settings in, and then you do that. Now, one of the things too is a scene is something that I think you should focus on if it's something that you do often. So it's a shortcut, a deeper shortcut. The voice shortcut we can always do that within our capability of compound commands, of being able to issue all of that stuff on the fly. That's the beauty of Josh. Now we can do all the scene stuff, and we can do all that all the time with anything and through other systems and make some other short. So went through that way. Okay, I hope that worked. I hope you guys actually saw that. I didn't get blown up with a bunch of stuff. So hopefully you guys were able to see that demo. So let's go into showing outside of the app how you can set up a scene in those ways. Okay, I'm going to bed, time for bed. What you see here is I'm going to, or the pipe there means time, or you can say it's or, so time for bed or not. Then did you brush your teeth? You can make the custom responses. Did you brush your teeth yet? Show that bed who's boss. Here comes the Sandman. And then what you see here are some custom responses that you can have, which are some Easter eggs that are some syntax formatting that you can do, which are some things that we will be launching Scenes 2.0 and some other things along there to kind of have some ability to have deeper ability to do that for everyone without having to go into going into the syntax formatting. So if anyone has any questions on that, let me know and we can always dive deeper. Again, I'll touch on the sandbox approach. The thing about the sandbox approach is what we want to do is have some native, we want to be able to control sources and for content. That's really the things that we need to make sure that we have native control of. Otherwise, we end up in a scene-based situation, which just isn't quite as pretty. Again, our integration and integration partners and depth of capabilities are always increasing and always getting better. But currently the sandbox approach with Lutron, Sony, LG, Samsung music players, our favorite is Sonos right now. Music content, Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, Pandora, distributed AV, which if you go through distributed AV, we can do distributed AV all day. With these products, we can do it natively. But we can also work with NVX. We can also work with Leaf. We can work with anything through Control4 or Crestron, thermostats, Ecobee or Lutron, locks, Locatron, and then any other things through VeraHub. Cameras, IC Realtime and Luma natively, and then video content, Roku, Dish, and Xfinity is coming. So again, making sure that you have those, at least in your showroom, is always going to make sure that you have a rich experience. I would encourage you to bend your mindsets a little bit on some of the things. If you don't necessarily like a certain brand, call me, let's talk through that. I want to stay focused on the experience as opposed to the individual products. Now, the home theater experience with Josh, again, as I've mentioned and spoken about this, I think that what you want to do is you're trying to transform the way people interface with their homes, and the way that they interface with it has kind of been set to this point by a smart speaker. We're not a smart speaker. We're interacting with the awesome systems that you guys are installing, selling, and integrating in people's homes, which are keeping things exciting and fun. So this home theater experience, let me go through a great way in what we're asking for with these partners and products here. Again, I'll touch on this, the ideal Josh and Crestron install, simple windows, we can do everything, but I highlight on the remote side, to be able to use the mic button on the TSR310, you do require a unlimited license. That can be annual, 5-year, or lifetime. But then on the Crestron home side, we do lights, shades, thermostats, locks, scenes, and quick actions. But there's also a hybrid version we can do of that. But our ideal situation would be to utilize the TSR310 for your video content and moving through with the AV side of things, and then moving through our app through the distributed pieces throughout that. And that's going to give a rich experience. I think in a second, I'm going to touch on a cool thing we just got done a couple weeks ago. Then on the Control4 side, you can do it with, the 260 remote will also track state of the room after initialization. That's a big thing to me. If we need to talk more about that, well, let's just touch on it. So if you go in, okay, Josh, open Netflix. The key is you don't want to have your handheld remote go down to the remote. And then if you had an RTI or a URC remote that's not tracking state, you'd have to hit Roku on the handheld remote in order to make that get up to speed of where the system is, where voice has already taken it. So the Neo and the TSR310 will track the state, so they can just pick that up, knows where it is, and you just start navigating and using that for video content. And again, very much like I mentioned on the Crestron side, navigating within that environment is what we're trying to focus on, making sure that there's an initialization shortcut with voice to the handheld device. And then as you leave, you can just say, okay, Josh, turn off the room or shut it down or whatever you want it to be. Now, Josh is the interface. Again, it's a standalone system in the sandbox. We can control each endpoint via IP, as a layer on top of those control systems. I know you love those control systems. I love those control systems. I get it. Not trying to take away from that part of the business, but what I wanted to try to do is help steer you and make you understand the ways we can make this a really seamless, nice experience for your customers, which is maybe just a little bit of a pivot with not necessarily compromising those relationships with those other manufacturers. We want to be there to help you expand the capabilities, but most importantly, give you that predictable outcome, but we need to make sure you understand it. And that's what this whole Josh demo experience is about. So let's make sure that we keep that in line. Again, just to kind of focus on the handheld control options. We've got our Neo here. We've got the TSR 310 here, which is also a microphone. You could do some cool stuff with that. You could technically have those in every single room, just have a single micro in the kitchen and have those in every single room if every room had a TV, and you'd have a full Josh control system. On top of that, that'd be a cool way to do it. Then we'd love it if you could utilize our application with our cool dashboard of knowing what's going on and seeing what you're doing. This is part of the AI aspect of what we do, of knowing what state and what things are going on in the house already, and tracking that and giving you suggestions for actions. Now, if you do use, when you hit this little button here and when you hit it here, what it's going to do is that's going to simulate saying, okay, Josh, or hey, Micro, or okay, Home. Then you just have to state your commands. Now, within our app, you can also type in the commands you want if you're at a party and the room's really loud, and that's really cool. I'm always doing that, copying YouTube links and putting them in, and that's how I kind of manage parties at my house is with that app, was within our app. Let's see if, let me see, this is probably gonna pop up another window on me. Okay, 1 second here. So this is going to show Corey showing you our new TSR 310 integration.
Hey guys, this is Corey with Josh.ai. Thought I'd shoot a quick video today of our integration with the Crestron TSR 310 microphone button. You do need to have an unlimited rooms license with Josh in order for this to work. I've included a graphic that lets you know you're recording. It's a little Josh graphic. I've also got some feedback to let you know what the last command sent to Josh was. So if you notice right now, my TV's off, the lights are off. The front door is unlocked. So let's do a quick command. You want to press the microphone button, press and hold it. Lock the front door, turn on the lights, and watch Apple TV 1. Okay, everything turned on, the door locked, and the TV is on Apple TV. On the remote, you notice I've got this Josh graphic right here. This is my sources page. If I go to Josh, it'll tell you, lock the front door, turn on the lights, and watch Apple TV 1. So let us know if you have any questions. It should be available on our next example program. Always, if you have anything you need, email us at support@josh.ai. Thanks.
Cool. So what Corey showed there was a compound command. He did also recall, he hasn't gotten a Roku yet. We'll work on him there, but he recalled the input on the TV, turned on the lights, and locked the door within a compound command just by pressing that the button on the TSR 310. That's a fun integration and it's a bonus wow factor we'd love to see you be able to show as well. So other wow factors, Ketra lighting. Our buddy Adam, I've mentioned this a couple weeks ago. He loves to ask customers what their favorite color is, and if they say a color, he'll go, and if he'll knows the color, he'll say something else. They say green, he'll say, oh, okay, Josh, make the lights chartreuse. And we hit 1,500 different colors, approximately. I think it might be a little bit more. Burnt amber. You can also define warmness. Set the lights to 3,500 Kelvin, make it warmer, make it cooler. And so these are nice adjustments because within those graphical dials, it's really hard. You have that color wheel. What color do you want? You can never get it consistent. You can never get what you're after. You can never make it be exactly what you seem to want. At least I struggle with that. And I've also spoken with integrators out there dealing with some other products out there that they haven't been able to get that to be those exact settings. This is a really fun thing to play with. And it's like, it really transforms the environment. If you go into and hit a compound command, okay, Josh, close the shades, set the lights to chartreuse, turn on the fireplace, turn on the ceiling fan, and do listen to jazz everywhere. That transforms the environment quickly. And it's different than going and having a scene that's always the same thing. It gives you some dynamics there. Some other fun things you can do: know your audience if you're going to be doing this and throwing around 4-letter words, but these things really resonate and blow people's minds. So make it effing louder, stop the GD music, and set the lights to half, So we pull those out, the ums, we pull those out. It's part of the beauty of Josh. But the other things is effing louder is going to be similar to make it a lot louder. And go through and do this. We have all of these things embedded in the system, and that's one of the beauties of what we are doing to help you deliver an amazing experience to your end users. Now, again, the Josh app, beautiful design, luxury experience, remote access. You can control it from anywhere. Multi-property control for all the homes. It's also a really nice way for you, the integrator, to be able to access and control and look at what's going on with your client homes once you get those dashboards in there, and you can actually see all your customer systems. Voice commands using the microphone, text commands, messaging the home, scene configuration, and then aliasing, being able to update room device names as you look through chat history on the fly. Because again, about that customer experience piece, we have a tendency to sell a black box and just move on to the next client. Josh is not a black box, and I cannot stress this enough. The dealers that have struggled with some installations has been unilaterally based around making sure that your customer understands how to use the product. And you need to make sure that there's mishearings, that based on how the cadence of how they speak, we may, from speech to text, may blend certain words together. So you have to go back into that chat history. You have to look at aliasing, and you have to make sure that you get the naming conventions set up properly in order to make sure that that works. And that requires some follow-up, a little bit different, but again, those are the things that we're trying to drive home the last 3 weeks. Experience, stories, going through and giving you all the sandbox for design. Now we're moving into trying to make sure that you understand the demo experience. Now, next piece of the puzzle, upload your showroom videos here. The showroom videos do not have to be you standing there giving a presentation. They can simply be you shooting it on your phone as you give the commands and letting us see what's happening. Follow the list. We're looking for an 80%. We want to see an 80% on the voice commands and the graphical use commands. We've made a bunch of upload sites here, Josh.ai /demo upload, demo dash upload, upload showroom, upload dash showroom, and my personal favorite, upload your Josh demo experience here as soon as possible. So get that stuff done. If you have questions, reach out to anyone on our team at sales@josh.ai, Matt or Felicia on the East Coast. Here in the mountains and in the West, you can also reach out to our wonderful full resolution rep firms, By Design, Vision and Sound Marketing, or CET and Associates, and make sure that you get that stuff rounded out. And if you have questions, comments, concerns, I see a bunch of, we are lighting up the switchboards just in time for Q&A. So let me go in here, let me dive into chat and see what's going on. Oh, Patrick, or thanks for the correction, Mr. Coleman, or just lights, music, shades. Thank you, sir. Okay, I see the thumbnail, see the video, see it now. Yep, thank you. Chris asking for customization capabilities of a lot or a little. Those are things, the arbitrary levels, I'm sure Alex has a good answer for that. I'll follow up with you on something with that. Mr. Chris, thank you for your engagement the last few weeks. It's Chris from CK Technology. Then let's see. Yep, it worked. To anticipate more control of Savant other than Savant scenes. Mr. John Ellington, push on your Savant reps. Recently, there was a push that fixed some issues that some systems were having with scenes. So that's good news. That stuff is going on and operational at this point. Let's see. And so relative to the Savant thing, keep pushing on them. We want to be Switzerland. We want to work with everybody. It's a focus. We'd love them to be one of our fantastic partners. Then Adam Zatorsky, King Systems. How are you, Adam? Can we turn off audio ducking? When it works, it's great, but the times it does not turn the volume back up or gets stuck. Okay, Adam's using Crestron, I believe, on the audio ducking side. I'll get Corey, I'll get our Crestron team on that for you. I'm writing that down. Okay, I will address that and see. I'm sure we can do that through Crestron, no problem. So let me see what I can do on that. You can disable audio ducking in the micro tile. That's pretty easy. So if you go to devices, then you go to micros, and then you'll slide down. There's going to be a little tab on the audio ducking, and you can turn that off and on. Alex also has a video on it. Then we're into, can you expand on what those issues and solutions were? Oh, Jeremy asking what the issues were with Savant. So Savant is limited to a scene-based operation, meaning we can't do the on-the-fly NLP operations that we love to do, what we feel makes the Josh experience. Everything that we talked about in this whole webinar is 100% about our natural language abilities to be able to move within the ecosystem freely and do on-the-fly scenes, basically, of being able to say all those things, of be able to say, make it effing louder or not, and this, and being able to say many different things that are contextually aware, whereas you don't have to speak. Basically, we've been hitting a button and making actions happen. I've been doing that since like 93. So hitting a button and making things happen is just like, okay, fine. That's what we're limited to. With a scene, it's basically a verbal button press, meaning, let me go back here. So when we go into a scene, what you would have to say here every time is good night, but as if without any aliases, which are over here, the alias tabs here, you would only be able to say good night to get whatever programmatic thing that you wanted to happen, Jeremy. So that would have to flow through. That's going to make it operate more like the other mass market products. And we are different in that we can make the aliases, and we can go pretty in depth on that. I can show you the capabilities there, but within Savant, we would have to do it to make it work more closely, but it's not really as fun. You'd have to make a scene for every device in every room in every state. So there's a lot to unpack in that. Let's move on, and we can talk about that. Jeremy, let's chat. Let's get on the phone. Patrick Coleman, Deezer and Cobuzz. I think we're gonna have to send out a survey on that. So, and yeah, so basically another thing on the Savant side, what we want to make sure you know is all Savant does is make us operate like Google and Alexa. We don't want to operate that way. But we're still focused on privacy. Remember, what are we? Your short pitches. We are an AI-based voice control, home control platform with a foundation of voice and privacy first. That's why you pay for our service. So again, even just scenes, we're a better product than those other devices out there. But let's chat offline on that. Let me go over to the Q&A. Those were all chats. Okay, Mr. Bartlett, thank you. Thank you. Yes, you can send a text message to Josh. Effectively, when you get down to, when you hit the voice button, Jim, so on our app over here, if you hit the voice button down here on the right, it will come up and it'll start recording. But if you hit the text button on the left of that, you can then type in commands, which is really cool. Where do you, Edward, where do you find the resources for Crestron and Control 4? Those are under Josh.ai. Log in and go to the dealer resources tab on the far right. After you go to the hamburger on the left, scroll down, go to the right, you'll see dealer resources. In 2 weeks, we'll be doing a Control 4 webinar. And next week, let's touch on next week. Next week, super fun. Before everybody starts jumping out of here, next week we will be doing a cool webinar with Alex. Will be making an appearance. Yay! Give it up for Alex. I need my sound bites. Then we'll be having Scotty as well, the head of product, and then Natter, head of business development, and the guy that, as long as you're not sick of me, I'm going to show up too, your director of sales. And I will be here as well. It's kind of it's an ask me anything environment. We want to have some fun with it, break up a little bit from the constant slides in this, make it a little bit more interactive and such. I'll be sending out the invites for that and a questionnaire for things that you guys want us to hit. And so if you're on this, you're on our distribution list, but this one will be a lot of fun next week. And then the following week will be Control 4. Is the plan. And then the week after that will be Crestron. There's some modifications we're making on the Crestron module. You'll be happy to hear about, Mr. Zatorsky at King Systems. We're making some things, making it better. So we're to see how far along we can get on that. We may have to wait a week after that into May, maybe the week of May 4th or so. Tommy, how deep is the Vera integration? I think we can do just about anything on that. So let's talk about that offline. Tony, let's jump on the phone call anytime. My cell is on the website, or you have it in my emails, probably ad nauseum. Patrick, thank you. You too. Everyone, have a great, it's Friday. Let's be appreciative of what we have. Reach out to someone that you know that is sitting home by themselves, doesn't have anybody. Be positive, be the light that they need. And remember, we will resurface from this. We'll be stronger, better, faster. We will be better at everything we do. And this is all over. Everybody just stay healthy and let's stay positive. If you need a pep talk, you can call me anytime. Anyway, you guys have a great rest of your week. Thank you so much for tuning in to the weekly Chad Show. Very appreciated.